Michelle Venditto is here. She's the Interim Budget Director for Wake County. On June 16th, the Board of Commissioners adopted the budget for fiscal year 2015, and the fiscal year started July 1st. This year's budget is $1.066 billion for this coming fiscal year, which actually started July 1st. Can you tell us a little bit about how the budget comes together, Michelle?
Sure. Each year we just take a look at how our budget had looked last year, and we put out a request to all the departments so that they can submit to us any requests that they have. We can evaluate any changes that need to be made in the budget. As we go throughout the year, the county manager's office will get involved in making final decisions. Then we present that budget to the commissioners as the recommended budget that the county manager presents. And then the public has an opportunity to voice their opinions, their thoughts at our public hearings, and then, when we get to June, we have that final adopted budget.
So this year there were a lot of priorities for the county manager to consider. Can you tell us some of those?
Sure. As we were going through the process, it seemed like there were kind of two major issues. Coming out of the recession, we went through 5 years where budgets were reduced, funds were restrained or constrained, and we saw a lot of the requests were associated with workload demands, so for staffing, and then secondly, just over those 5 years where departments had to take reductions, that there were some operating funds that just they were holding tight, and departments were really starting to struggle with some of that. So those were kind of the first area, and then really it was education secondly. The school board made a request for additional funding, and we really that was a big part of the decisions we made this year.
Michelle, can you share with our viewers some of the items, other than the education ones, because we'll get to those in just a second, that came into the budget? I know there was a lot of things related to public safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with public safety, there was funding added for EMS. We increased some staffing and some training equipment in order to, continue with our quality care that we provide to the county citizens. Additionally, CCBI will have 2 new chemists this year. There has been a statewide push and initiative to address some DUI infractions. So throughout the county and throughout the state, there have actually been additional police and deputies put on the streets. Additionally, we've added 2 courthouse deputies in the budget to ensure safety in our judicial spaces. And then in terms of public safety, we also added a computer-aided dispatch administrator. This is part of a larger initiative to upgrade our CAD system, which is the system which enables the communications between all of our public safety agencies. So that position will enable that to move forward. We also added 7 positions related to residential and commercial development in both the planning department and in the water quality department to address some of those workload needs. And then lastly, in human services, there was the addition of 10 school nurses. So as you said, as I said, education was very critical, and looking at those school nurses was a high priority.
So school nurses are a great transition to education. The county spends a large part of its operating budget supporting Wake Tech and the school system. Can you tell us about some of the increases in those areas?
Sure. Well, in Wake Tech, the counties in North Carolina are responsible primarily for operating and maintenance, whether that's staffing or equipment, funding for those types of things. Additionally, we provide startup costs. So this year, the Vernon Malone College and Career Academy will be opening, and that's a partnership between Wake County, the Wake Tech, and the school system. So their first year funding will be providing some funding for that. A large part of our budget goes towards education. Again, the county is responsible largely for operating, maintenance, for school building construction, for infrastructure. Additionally, counties provide additional instructional resources, whether it's just direct supply funds, technology funds, teacher supplement came up this year again. And so this year, we have kind of made further investments in education.
So the last question, Michelle, is the school's budget. It sounds like there's going to be some ongoing discussions about how that all works together over the next few months.
Yes. Throughout the fall, the school system will, get their final numbers from last year. They'll be able to determine, how their year ended, and then we'll find out what occurred at the state. They'll, finalize their budget, and then the county manager and the superintendent will be meeting to identify what next steps might be, if there's additional funding requirements, and then just kind of planning for improved collaboration in the future so that, we can kind of move forward together.
That sounds like a fantastic route to go.
It certainly does.
Well, thank you so much for being with us.